Hey guys, Ray from Love You RV and Boat. So if you followed me for any length of time, you know we do a lot of camping off-grid. Right now we're down in the desert for the winter. We'll be about 4 months off-grid camping. In the summers, we spend about 4 months on our boat, also mostly anchored out off-grid. 2 months on kind of shoulder seasons. We're in usually state parks, provincial parks, not really on hookups. And then we'll spend about 2 months, maybe maximum, on hookups. So getting good water is sort of critical to us. First of all, Anne has kind of a sensitive stomach, so don't want to get any bacteria or any bugs in the water. So early on I started getting into water filtration. Anything that goes into my fresh tank, we usually are loading up our fresh tank and drinking out of it. We have actually a UV purifier on board and kind of secondary filtering. But anything that goes into the tank I like to filter, especially when we're out off grid like this, and a lot of times on the boat where we're getting water out of wells and kind of sketchy things, marinas. A lot of them are getting their water out of streams and things and doing maybe some purification, but you just never know. There's not as heavy regulated as city type RV parks or off grid in small little towns, or picking up at kind of dumpy old RV parks. Anywhere where we can get water, a lot of times I'll head out and fill a 60-gallon water bag with my water and then come back. So I started a number of years ago with a 2-stage system. I gave up on the little kind of tube that people use. That's just doing about 30 micron filtration. Not too long ago I cut one open just to see what is inside it. And basically it was like a section of carbon about that big and a couple little foam filters on each end. So they kind of do a rudimentary job of filtering some of the sediment, and then the charcoal kind of carbon kind of gets rid of some of the taste, like maybe chlorine or something like that. But ended up getting a 2-stage that kind of had a sediment filter and a carbon filter. And then the next year we switched to a 3-stage that had a sediment filter, get rid of the big particles, and then it had a carbon filter to improve the taste, and then a final stage filter. Some were 0.2 micron or 0.1 micron even, and that sort of got rid of the small kind of viruses and things that would make you sick in the water. And it's worked out quite well. We haven't had any waterborne sickness that we know of caused by our water. It stayed pretty clean. Also, all the water going into my fresh tank is nice and clean, so I don't have any problems with sediments building up in the fresh tank, or kind of getting stuff in there that's going to start growing algae or anything. It's stayed pretty clean. Every once in a while I do, a couple times a year, I'll kind of, with bleach, I'll kind of sanitize my whole system just to make sure. But it's worked out well. Now that system was a 10-inch filter system, three filters, and it was from a company called Clear Source, based I think in Los Angeles. And it was, one drawback was it was pretty heavy and pretty large. It was built really well, had thick plastic jugs on it, but I ended up, because of storage space issues being full-timers, I ended up mounting it on the bumper of the rig, carrying it around at the back bumper, which was convenient where I was filling up anyway. And then I got approached by a company called Blu Technology. They have the Blu Tech filters, and they had a little very compact filter system, 3 stages, same thing basically, a sediment stage and a carbon stage, and then a very small micron stage. And I used it and really liked it because of the size. I could just throw it in the storage bay. It was much smaller, but it used little smaller, about 5-inch filters. Drawback to that was I found they would clog a lot easier and quicker. So the big 10-inch would maybe last me 4 to 6 months, whereas the little ones were more like 2 to 3 months. So they were clogging up. I have to replace it more. Also, I found once they clogged up, the flow would be dramatically reduced. They had much lower flow than the 10-inch. So the trade-off of the compact nature of them was I would have to replace the filters more often and have lower flow pretty quickly after they kind of started to clog up. So I used those and tested them out for you and did some reviews on them. I used them on the boat as well, and it was nice having the compact filters on the boat, so I stuck with them. And then actually the ClearSource company came out with something similar, even smaller, I guess, to compete. And that was last season when I came down here. I used their filters, and sort of the same thing. They would clog up pretty quick, and it was nice to have small filters, but I sort of had the same issues with those. And I did use them on the boat in the summer for the same reason, because they were compact. But this trip down, I decided to go back to the 10-inch filters and put them on the bumper and use that in lieu of carrying the smaller ones. And then the Blu Technology company approached me not long ago and said they've actually kind of listened to the feedback of everybody, including me, and come up with a very compact, lighter weight 10-inch filter system. So they offered to send me out a sample to test and review for you guys, and that's what we're going to be doing this season. So we'll do kind of unpack, and I'll show you the system, the size, and also compare it to what I'm using right now with the ClearSource, compare weight and size. And they also send a couple other items, a pressure regulator. I've had a Valterra brand for, must be going on 10, 12 years. I think the first one I bought 12 years ago, because some RV parks are just crazy with their pressure. We've stayed at a few where it was 110 psi because they used the irrigation plumbing. They just plumbed it straight to the spigots for the RV park, so you can blow out plumbing fixtures inside your rig with that type of pressure. So it was nice to use a pressure regulator with a dial. So the Blu Tech has one that's really Scootum looking, with it's kind of all stainless steel, it's oil filled, so I'll be able to test that out. Not right now. I got to get to an RV park with some decent pressure. Right now I'm just filling with my water pump, but they also sent out their water pressure measurement device, PSI, like or flow device. That's what it is. It's the water flow, so I can see how many gallons per minute I'll be flowing through. So with that, I'll be able to test their filters brand new with the water pump that I use all the time to fill my water tank in the rig. And then, you know, in a couple of months, 3-4 months, I can come back and use exactly the same system, and we can see what the flow has been reduced and kind of compare it to previous years with the other filter systems. Anyway, enough yakking. Let's get to unpacking this new system. Just before I unpack the box, I'll give you a look at my routine that I go through for filling when we're off grid. So this is a 60-gallon water bladder that I can bring back to camp. I have a plug here at 12 volts, goes to a transfer pump, hook a hose onto it, out of it. Then the hose will go through the water filter system. So this is what I've been using. You can see mounted on the bumper there. Quite large, fairly heavy, especially once it's full of water. Goes through that way, through all the filters, comes out, and then gets pumped into our fresh tank, which is I think a 50 or 60 gallon fresh tank. Anyway, so we're going to replace it with the newer system here. So let me pull it out of the box. There we be. So much slimmer and lighter than the other one there. Also came with a bag here. So this model is the AR3 XLt. Previous model that I looked at was the AR3. You can see it's a smaller one there. And just give you a quick look at the optional accessories I got. This is the pressure regulator. There we are. Ooh, definitely their stuff is top-notch build quality. That's one thing I liked about this company. Everything, these look like they're stainless or nickel plated, and also they give you these quick connects, really nice ones too. Don't have to go and get my own to use brass ones, that aftermarket that I had picked up. And I believe this company is, I'm not sure what state it is, somewhere back east. I'll put it up as some text, but definitely an American company. I think a lot of their stuff is built in the USA, designed and built. Probably outsource some of the parts and import some parts, but they say they make their units in the States. And then here is the flow meter. It's like one of the nicest flow meters I've ever seen. Same thing, stainless. Anyway, let's get it hooked up. First I'll show you the size comparison before I hook it up. There you go. There's the comparison there. And Clear Source makes good stuff too, but I think the build quality on these is just a little bit a step above that. I like the stainless jugs versus the plastic. And like I say, the connectors I like a little bit better as well. These got these connectors, but then I had to get my own quick connects. I kind of like to have the quick connects just because I'm always stopping at water fill stations or doing this, so it's nice not to have to screw it on and off. So the filter should come pre-installed. We'll just take a look at them. There's some rings up here that need to be unscrewed. There's a little tool you can use. I guess a screwdriver would work too. And you can loosen them up. This thing is just to kind of give them the final tighten. There we go. Give you a look at the canisters. Stainless steel. And then a fairly heavy ring connector there to tighten them up with. And 3 filters, sediment. This one they call the off-grid filter. And then this one they call the tasty filter. You can see them labeled here. So something has changed, because before they'd have the sediment longevity filter first, and they would have the tasty filter, and then the final stage would be the 2 micron off-grid. But they've swapped that. So I'm not sure exactly why. I think my feeling is probably because this one kind of has I think it's coconut and maybe carbon or charcoal or something. It would probably release small bits of that, like when you first run it through, it comes out sometimes black until that kind of cleans out, which is normal. But maybe it was starting to clog this very small micron filter. So they seem to have switched that order. And a closer look here at the main unit, where the water comes out, goes back through. Some kind of rubber gaskets that go on there. Filters reinstalled. One thing I did notice, you have to be very careful screwing this on. You got a pretty heavy steel collar here onto a plastic, so you don't want to cross thread that and ruin the plastic threads. Had to make sure it went on easy. First time I kind of went on and it felt like it was cross threading, and it was a little difficult, so I had to back it off and just line everything right up so it spun on easy. Then I could do the final kind of tight down with the tool. Okay, just gonna run the first few gallons through. You can see all that black that comes out from that charcoal type filter. So I'll just run a few gallons through just to clear all that out. Okay, pumping away. Let's check their flow meter here. Had it pumping for a while. I put 13 gallons in there. It's showing me a flow rate down here of 13.3, 13.1. We'll have to wait till I can get to an RV park situation, and I can do some more accurate measurements of what this thing can put out. Just wanted to kind of unbox it and give you a look at it in action. So stay tuned. We'll be doing more videos on the system and the meter and also the regulator. Till next time, Ray from Love You RV and Boat. Thanks for watching, everyone. Cheers, folks.